CBS Sports' Ryan Wilson with what he sees in Georgia offensive lineman Monroe Freeling.
Athletically, he checks all the boxes. He had a really good season last year and sort of flew under the radar. We didn't talk a lot about him until probably November, and then he tested well. I've been doing this long enough just to be a little wary of testing, and I'm excited for all these young men to have fantastic numbers. But at the end of the day, no one cares if you're 330 pounds and you ran a 4.98 40 if you're giving up sack after sack. Now, would he go number 6? That feels rich. But again, we're 50 days from the draft, and a lot of things change, and these teams are just starting their meetings. And I don't know what a lot of these teams are thinking, especially when it comes to the top of their draft board and their needs. And look, Andrew Berry took 2 quarterbacks last year. I didn't think that was going to be in play. And so everything's up for debate. 6 feels rich for me from Monroe Freeling. He hasn't played a ton of football, but he is athletically as good as they come. And, again, if you're playing in the SEC and dominating, that's a good sign.
Scott, it's kind of what we had said last segment relative to 6. How do you see Andrew Berry filling out the line? You know, we got a right tackle, so we got that going for us. How do you get the other 4?
Yeah, I mean, you know, at the Combine he mentioned following the blueprint that the Bears used a year ago to remake their offensive line, which included trades, free agency, drafting, and then developing someone already on your roster. So, you know, like I said, Joe Bitonio is a big question mark at left guard. And I think they take a run at Tyler Linderbaum in free agency at center. It just makes too much sense to me, the fact that he was with Todd Monken and George Warhop for 3 years, or Monken for 3 years, Warhop for 2 in Baltimore. Now, I know there's going to be a bunch of bidders, and maybe the Browns don't go all in and pay a center $23 million a year. And if they draw the line somewhere, that's fine. But he's also 26, 3-time Pro Bowler. I think it could be their biggest swing in free agency is Linderbaum. If not, you know, when we talk about who could be promoted, you know, DeJuan Jones, I just don't think you can count on him given his injury history. Yeah, he's in the mix. Maybe at right tackle, maybe it's him and Titus Howard, and somebody slides into guard if both guys are healthy. You know, is Luke Whippler or Ethan Posick the guy at center? I think we have to see how Posick recovers. We haven't seen a ton of Whippler in his time with the Browns. Is Zach Zinter ready to take a step up? Like, I just don't think you can count on all those guys to fill spots. Maybe 1, maybe 2. I think you draft a left tackle early, and then I think you draft a center or a guard relatively early. And, you know, if you want to take the Penn State guard after you trade down because you think he's the best offensive lineman in the draft and take him after a trade down and then get your tackle at 24, I think you could do that. And then you got 2 pieces. You got Howard, and then you can figure out the rest. So I think there's at least 2 big moves to be made, whether it's free agency, another trade, and or the top of the draft.